Jalāl Rūmī, 1207–1273, known in the Persian-speaking world simply as Maulana, our master, stands among the greatest mystical poets and spiritual teachers in human history. His verses have crossed centuries, languages, and religions, speaking about love, longing, and the soul's journey toward the divine. To understand the power of his poetry, it is essential to look closely at the dramatic and transformative life he lived. Early life and family background. Rūmī was born on September 30, 1207, in the city of Balkh, located in present-day Afghanistan, then part of the Persian cultural world. His father, Ba al-Dīn Walid, was a respected theologian, jurist, and mystic who held the title Sultan of Scholars. From childhood Rm grew up in an environment filled with learning, Quranic study, and spiritual discussion. His father belonged to the tradition of Islamic mysticism that emphasized inner purification and direct experience of God rather than mere formal scholarship. During Rūmī's childhood, the political situation of Central Asia became unstable because of the rising Mongol Empire. Sensing danger, Ba al-Dīn decided to leave Balkh with his family around 1215. The family began a long journey westward that would shape the young Rūmī's outlook. They traveled through Nishapur, Baghdad, Mecca, Damascus, and other great cities of the Islamic world. According to tradition, in Nishapur the famous poet Farid al-Dīn Attar met the boy Rm and predicted that he would one day ignite the hearts of lovers of God. Settlement in Anatolia. After many years of travel, the family finally settled in Konya, a flourishing city in Anatolia, today in Turkey, which was then part of the Seljuk Empire of Rm, hence the name Rūmī, meaning from the land of Rm. Ba al-Dīn became a prominent teacher there, and when he died in 1231, the 24-year-old Rm inherited his father's position as a respected scholar and preacher. At this stage Rūmī was known primarily as a jurist and theologian. He taught Islamic law, delivered sermons, and lived the life of a conventional religious authority. He married Gauhar Kha with Makron Tien, with whom he had two sons, Sultan Walid and Ul al-Dīn. Nothing yet suggested that he would become the ecstatic poet celebrated across the world. The decisive transformation came through a mysterious encounter. Meeting with Shams-i Tabrizi. In 1244 a wandering dervish named Shams al-Dīn of Tabriz arrived in Konya. Shams was an unconventional, fiery mystic who cared little for social norms and sought a companion capable of receiving deep spiritual truths. When he met Rm in the marketplace, the two immediately recognized each other as spiritual mirrors. The exact details of their first conversation are surrounded by legend, but it is clear that Shams shook the foundations of Rm's orderly life. Rūmī abandoned his routine lectures and spent months in intimate dialogue with Shams, exploring the mysteries of divine love. Many of Rm's students felt neglected and grew jealous of the stranger's influence. Under pressure, Shams left Konya once, was persuaded to return, and then disappeared again in 1247, possibly murdered by rivals, perhaps even with the involvement of Rm's son al-Dīn. The loss devastated Rm. He searched for Shams across Syria and Anatolia, and when he finally accepted that his friend would not return, his grief turned into poetry. Birth of the poet. From this sorrow emerged an unprecedented creative outpouring. Rm began composing thousands of lyric poems that he attributed symbolically to Shams, collecting them later in the Dva with Makron ani Shamsi Tabrits. These poems are filled with images of wine, music, fire, and dance, metaphors for the intoxicating presence of God. Rūmī often dictated verses while whirling in circles, accompanied by the reed flute and drum, a practice that later inspired the famous Mevlevi Sufi order known in the West as the Whirling Dervishes. Another close companion, the humble goldsmith Salh al-Dīn Zarqb, and later the disciple Huzam al-Dīn Shalab, helped channel Rūmī's inspiration into more structured works. At Huzam al-Dīn's request Rm began composing his masterpiece, the Masnaf Yemanav, spiritual couplets. This 6-volume poem of about 26,000 lines blends stories, parables, Quranic commentary, and mystical teachings. Many have called it the Quran in Persian, not as scripture but as a guide to inner awakening. Teachings and spiritual vision. At the heart of Rūmī message is love, ishq, a force that draws every creature toward its origin in God. He taught that all religions are paths to the same truth and that human differences are veils covering a single reality. For Rūmī, the ego is a prison. Through remembrance, music, poetry, and service, the soul can break its chains and return to the beloved. He used everyday images: a reed cut from the reed bed, a chickpea boiling in a pot, a lover knocking at a door to explain profound metaphysical ideas. His language is simple yet infinitely layered, capable of speaking to scholars and ordinary people alike. Unlike many mystics who withdrew from society, RM remained deeply engaged with his community, counseling rulers and commoners, Muslims, Christians, and Jews of Konya. Final years and legacy. RM spent the rest of his life teaching and composing poetry. On December 17, 1273, he passed away in Konya. His funeral became an extraordinary event attended by people of many faiths, reflecting the universal appeal he had achieved even in his lifetime. His followers organized the Mevlevi order, which preserved his teachings through music, ritual dance, and study of the Masnaf. Over the centuries, RM's influence spread from Turkey and Iran to South Asia and eventually to the modern West. Translations in the 20th century turned him into one of the most read poets in the English language. Yet beyond popularity, his enduring legacy is a vision of humanity united by compassion and longing for the sacred. Conclusion. Jalāl-ad-Dīn Rūmī's life was a journey from formal scholarship to the boundless ocean of mystical love. Born amid political turmoil, shaped by travel and exile, transformed by the friendship of Shams, he discovered a voice that continues to awaken hearts. His biography is not merely the story of a medieval poet but the record of a soul that dared to burn in the fire of love and invited the whole world to do the same. Through his words we still hear his invitation, "Come, come, whoever you are, ours is not a caravan of despair."